Hello everyone, my name is Tanish Muralidhar and I am a research analyst from Rouse High School. Today I'll be pitching a company that is owned by many great investors and institutions such as Warren Buffett, Vanguard, and BlackRock. The stock is none other than Apple Inc., ticker symbol AAPL. Apple also has the highest weightage makeup in the S&P 500. I give Apple a buy rating with a 4-year price target of $300. Apple currently trades at $172.11 with a PE of 26.44, return on investment capital of 41.7%, profit margins of 45.87%, and a market cap of $2.62 trillion. Over the past 5 years, Apple has beat the S&P 500 by a large margin of around 175%. My 4-year price target of $300, which signifies a 70.45% upside. The current market price is less than the fair value of $179.48 that I calculated, and I believe that the stock will outperform the market over a long period of time. Apple is a technology company that serves both everyday consumers and businesses. Apple's product lines includes the iPhone, Mac, iPad, wearables, home and accessories, and services. The suite of Apple products is called the Apple ecosystem, where all the devices communicate with each other and all user information is shared. This allows for a seamless customer experience, causing high customer satisfaction rate. Apple has majority market share in many sectors and has a big presence in others. Sales by geography is also very diversified, signifying no one over-reliance on one country. Apple stock is mostly owned by institutions such as Vanguard, BlackRock, and Berkshire Hathaway, with the public owning the second most amount of shares. Now we're going to talk about Apple's industry analysis. Apple Inc. has many product sectors, and the combined sector growth is around 10% annually. Some of the important sectors include software services, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. This is because these sectors are growing at a faster rate and have a higher profit margin. Apple can still acquire a lot more market share in these markets and grow its product categories. As Warren Buffett says, a truly great business must have an enduring moat that protects excellent returns on invested capital. While Apple has a really wide moat, the Apple ecosystem, also referred to as the walled garden, Apple's product line is very diversified to prevent economic downturn. Thus, the Apple ecosystem is special because it traps users into the ecosystem and makes them want to buy more Apple products. For example, if one buys the iPhone, they continually go and buy the iPad, Apple Watch, and Mac. The bargaining power of customers is very low. This is because the customers can't negotiate on price and have to pay the listed price that Apple sets. Apple is such a big company and is able to determine price due to many people willing to pay the price that Apple sets. Intensity of competition rivalry is very low due to competitors not having the level of Apple's ecosystem and well-rounded experience that Apple provides. Apple constantly improves its products to keep up to date with the market. The bargaining power of suppliers is very low, as getting an order from Apple means big business. Suppliers are fine with losing some profits for increased revenue. The threat of substitutes is low, as customers like preferring to stay in the ecosystem. Buying one product outside the ecosystem can disrupt the customer's experience, so they try to buy only Apple products. The threat of new entrants from companies is also very low due to massive amount of initial capital required to set up a tech company and invest in R&D to make a good product. These are the catalysts I believe will increase revenue and boost the company's value. Services is a revenue booster. It is growing at around 20% and has a profit margin of 70%. The high profit margin is because software products don't require hardware components to run, which cost a lot of money. Apple can increase services revenue with acquiring sports rights such as the NFL, F1, IPL, ICC, and buying out ESPN if Disney does a spin-off. Apple has 2 billion active users on its products, which is ideal to grow its services business. Another catalyst I see is existing customer bases upgrading more frequently and splurging more. With increased innovation in Apple products, Apple can re-accelerate product growth and increasing revenue. New product categories such as AI can bring in additional revenue. The AI market is worth a lot, and Apple is soon to launch an AI product at WWDC, according to many analysts. The Vision Pro is also in its early stages, but has a lot of room to grow with the lower cost model, which can get many people to buy into augmented reality. Lastly, the Apple stock buyback program is a big catalyst for the company, as the Apple buyback stock program buys around $75 billion worth of stock every year, which is a lot of money added to investors' pockets. Apple's financials are very strong and clean. Apple's high margins are a key factor of great financials. Apple has a very high cash flow yield of around 4.5% and a return of invested capital of 43.7%. A high return on capital just shows how well the company is at taking investors' money and making that into profits. I used a 5-year DCF model using the EV/EBITDA TV model to calculate present day value because Apple revenue is very stable and it isn't a rapid growth company. For this reason, I did not use a 10-year DCF model because it doesn't make much of a difference. Some key assumptions is the cost of debt is at 5% and the 10-year treasury is at 4.2% and perpetual growth is at 2%, which is very conservative, which was based on the US GDP growth. Using this model, I predicted the cash flow for the next 5 years and discounted that to today's value using my VAC. With this, I calculated the enterprise value and added the cash and marketable securities and subtracted the debt. After this, I divided my equity value by the shares outstanding to find my share price. I did my calculations with the bear, normal, and bull case to reduce uncertainty. My bear case was a 25% likeliness, normal case of 50% likeliness, and a bull case with a 25% likeliness with a 5, 7.5, and 10% growth rate that I calculated. After this, I calculated the 4th year value using the free cash flow model that we previously used, and I found a share price of $289. The first investment risk is an antitrust issues filed by the government. The DOJ accused Apple of holding a monopoly and stifling innovation. But items in this lawsuit are very arguable, and Apple has the correct and best lawyers to fight this lawsuit and win, and has a strong cash reserves to do so. Another risk is slow short-term growth and harsh economic conditions in China. But I believe Apple's catalyst will increase revenue in the long term, and long-term investors should not be worried. The last risk is geopolitical issues with China and Taiwan. Apple does produce most of its devices in China, but is slowly diversifying with manufacturing in India and Vietnam. Apple is also diversifying its chip manufacturing, with TSMC building a new plant in Arizona and Apple being the largest customer. Apple ranked in the 93 percentile in ESG rankings out of 36,122 companies. Apple's environmental goal is to achieve net zero emissions by 2030, and Apple's HQ is covered with solar panels to provide renewable resources. Apple's manufacturers, about 110 of them, have switched to renewable energy to produce Apple products, and Apple has 100% recycled aluminium in its products such as the Mac, iPad, Watch, and Apple Watch. Apple also has a giving program where they collectively raised $800 million and logged in over 2 million volunteer hours to help the community. Apple has created an education academy and has partnered with the Malala Fund to donate money and resources to underprivileged kids. Lastly, the Apple governance in the board of directors consists of people different in the industry and not Apple employees except Tim Cook. Apple has also employed independent committees to review the management's and Apple's actions, and Apple has also instituted a no corruption policy. Lastly, Apple has created a diverse and inclusive environment. Lastly, the development of AI is more of an opportunity than a risk. This poses a big revenue category which can accelerate Apple's revenue growth in the future. Apple is also very capable of integrating AI into its already existing products to increase customer features, and the user experience. Apple has great fundamentals, wide moat, management, and strong financials, and is a strong company to buy and hold for the long term. Thank you. If you have any questions, reach out to me at my email address, and I'll be happy to clarify any doubts.